Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Overwatch Weekly. Not a ton of stuff to cover today, but some that I feel like is worth talking about. So let's take a look at everything that I have today. The first story is that we have a set of patch notes. These are from last week, last Wednesday. These are live patch notes. These are not PTR patch notes, though there were some PTR patch notes that I believe were all bug fixes. These are just live server patch notes. For Brigitte, her repair pack armor overheal was reduced from 75 armor to 50 armor, and her healing per second was decreased from 60 to 55. So she's a little bit weaker in terms of her healing, which is somewhat understandable. She's a little bit, or she was a little bit overpowered with her healing. The dev comment on this one is on top of the highly, oh my god, I can't talk. On top of the high utility Vegeta brings to her team, she also dishes out a ton of healing and armor. We're reducing some of this healing and armor to help keep her in line with the other healers. Symmetra's photon projector secondary fire damage was increased from 120 to 140. Dev comment on this one is that increasing photon projector's max damage allows Symmetra to play more effectively at a safer range when necessary. Widowmaker's Widow's Kiss full charge time for scope shots increased from 0.75 seconds to 0.9 seconds. The dev comment on this one is that Widowmaker has become stronger over time following changes to other heroes, such as power reductions to barriers. This change is intended to slow down her shots, reducing her overall damage per second. And Wrecking Ball's Pile Driver affected players' loss of air control was reduced from 1 second to 0.5 seconds. The dev comment on this one is that this change allows Wrecking Ball's enemies to regain control of their movement more quickly to try and avoid attacks, making Pile Driver combos a bit less deadly. There's also a couple of console-only changes, which normally I don't think are put on this thing, but here they are. Ana's Biotic Rifle allied projectile size increased from 0.3 to 0.4, and Symmetra's Sentry Turret DPS was reduced from 34 to 30. So for you console players out there, there's some changes for you. I think those are pretty interesting, and I think they're pretty good. Those are all things that I think needed to be changed. I'm loving the rate at which the team is patching stuff now. This is really, really crazy, and I love it. And it makes me very happy to see that they're really just going in, and they're going through, and they're saying, here's what needs to change, and they're just changing it. I think that's really good. The next story is, I guess, technically a rumor, but I don't really know. I guess it's kind of a leak as well. But this is an article that comes from IGN, but it's something that I've seen all over the place. Overwatch cartoon and Diablo anime seem to be on the way. So, let's read this. It seems that both an Overwatch cartoon and Diablo anime are in the works. Neither have been confirmed by Activision Blizzard yet, but new evidence from a high-ranking employee makes it pretty likely they are in production. Nick Van Dyke, who is the president of the film and TV division of Activision Blizzard, says he has worked on both of these unannounced projects in his LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to read you what his LinkedIn profile says so you can see exactly what it says. So the very first thing, right, is that he says, executive producer of Skylanders Academy, a TV adaptation of Skylanders, the leading children's video game franchise in the world. Take that as you will. Solicited pitches and selected showrunner, assembled writer's room, provided notes and creative feedback at all stages of production from writing through animation, hired key show staff, line producer, casting director, voice director, composer, etc., sourced and hired animation studio and negotiated equity interest therein, established guidelines for talent deals, assembled series cast, and sold the show to Netflix. Executive producer of Diablo, a TV adaptation, or Diablo, a TV adaptation of Blizzard Entertainment's IP rendered in anime style. The show is currently in pre-production for distribution worldwide through Netflix. I also love how I always say Diablo, even though I know it's Diablo, but watch too many Brits. Anyway, with my creative partner, author development strategy for the Call of Duty cinematic and television universe. Secured development funding, developed writer compensation details, and oversaw negotiations to secure talent. But the juicy part is, with my creative partner, developed and sold an animated series based Blizzard's Overwatch franchise. forgot to say based on, but that is something that he put there. So, this is the information that we have. And this is basically him saying, here's what I've worked on in the past, and I have developed a series for Overwatch. So it's a very interesting article because we don't have any knowledge of this thing coming out anytime soon. So I'm curious to see what it says, because this seems like, I was under the impression when I first heard Overwatch cartoon that it was just going to be, they were going to take the Overwatch cinematic shorts, and they were just going to put them on Netflix. People could watch them there. And maybe that's still something that they do. Though probably not. But now, it seems like they're going to make an Overwatch cartoon. It also should be noted that everyone's talking about Overwatch getting a Netflix cartoon. This doesn't say that this is going to Netflix. The Diablo one says the show is currently in pre-production for distribution worldwide through Netflix. The Overwatch one just says, with my creative partner, developed and sold an animated series based on Blizzard's Overwatch franchise. It could be a Disney Plus series. It could be a Netflix series. You don't really know. But the fact that Diablo is on Netflix makes sense because Diablo is a little more bloody. It would be somewhat more like Castlevania, I believe, which is why you're going to put it through Netflix, where you don't have to worry about a lower rating. Overwatch is a little more, by little more, I mean a lot more child-friendly, and it's something that you can put on a Disney XD or a Cartoon Network or a Nickelodeon even though I think Nickelodeon's kind of dead. And you could put it on those networks to try to get people to watch them and bring people in. So, and we already know that Overwatch has had a deal with Disney in the past, with the Overwatch League last season being on ESPN and ABC and other Disney networks. So this is very interesting to me, to see that we're getting a cartoon potentially. We just don't know where. Nick Van Dyke is 100% the president of Activision Blizzard Studios, who is the person who runs the film and TV division of Activision Blizzard. So I'm curious to see what this is, and I'm curious to see when they come in relation to Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2, because there's rumors that Overwatch 2 could be coming this year. I've heard that Diablo 4 is not very far along, and will likely not be ready for another year, maybe even 2. But I've heard people say that Overwatch 2 could be coming this year. So people are saying, well, then it's probably important that we get this cartoon before it comes out to kind of build up hype and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's necessary, but that is what I have heard from some people. That has been some people's opinions. I don't know when to expect any of this to come. We obviously know about this Orisa book that's supposed to come out. Now we know about an Overwatch cartoon. But we don't know anything else about any of this stuff, when it's supposed to come or anything like that. I think we actually had a date for the Orisa book, but I haven't seen it yet because it's not out yet. So can't really do much else when you just know about it, but it's not actually out yet. Let's move on to the final story. That's all I really got for you on the Overwatch cartoon department. This final story comes out of the Overwatch League. Overwatch League makeup matches moved to Seoul. So I'll read you this pretty short article. In order to protect the health and safety of our fans, players, and staff, Overwatch League matches at homestand events in Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Hangzhou in February and March had been canceled. Today we're announcing that those makeup matches are going to be played in Seoul, South Korea. The matches will be played over multiple days in weeks 6 and 7 at a studio in Seoul. A few of the makeup matches might be added to the Seoul Dynasty homestand in week 5. The makeup matches will not affect the other scheduled homestands in Washington in week 5, Florida in week 6, and Atlanta week 7. We will reveal specific match dates and times soon. All matches will be live streamed on our YouTube channel. So my video that I put up was my picks for the week. I was talking about this a little bit. And I specifically said I wouldn't be surprised if they just add a match or two to the end of a number of homestands just to try to catch it up, which is what they might do with Seoul. But instead, they're just going to have weeks 6 and 7 just focused on that, which is really interesting to me. I don't really know what the plan was then. I haven't looked at the schedule for that period of time. I don't know who is hosting a homestand then. My guess it would be that the homestands then aren't going to be affected because it's going to be teams that wouldn't be playing at those. So if you look at weeks 6 and 7, it's oh, I guess there are no other matches because they must have been matches that are supposed to be in China. I see. I'm a fool. I have a small mind because I didn't pay attention. So I guess those were supposed to be 2 homestands in China in week 6 and 7. So there weren't any matches that would have been played that week anyway. So they can spend all the time making up matches that weekend because there's no homestand for those teams to play in. So we're not going to see a lot of these teams until week 5, and then we'll see them again week 6 and week 7. So we still have week 3, week 4. So we have 2 more weeks before we see the Hangzhou Spark play, the Chengdu Hunters play, the Seoul Dynasty, the Guangzhou Charge, and the Shanghai Dragons won't play until week 6 or 7. So we'll be that far into the season before we see some of these teams play their first matches. It's going to be a weird period of time as we watch everybody catch up to where some of these Atlantic teams are. But it's going to be crazy, and it's going to be really interesting and fun to watch, I think. So that is where we are here, and that is everything that I have for you this week. So let me know in the comments down below what you thought about any of these stories. I'd love to hear what you have to say, but that's all I have for you. So if you enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing. Thank you once again for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.